Ghostbusters is one of my favorite things to come out of the 80s, right there alongside Gremlins, Back to the Future, and Indiana Jones. With such a funny and tightly written script that manages to have so many classic moments and incredibly good effects for its age, make it an all-timer. And heck, its sequel wasn't even bad. Pretty good from memory. However, its reboot was alright, and with its lackluster performance came a stop to the franchise, unsure of where to go, as Harold Ramis passed and nobody seemed to like any new direction for the series. However, early in January 2019, Jason Reitman had announced plans of a sequel. In July, the cast was announced, and by December, there was a trailer. However, COVID happened and thus pushed the series to November of 2021, where it gained a pretty good amount of positive reception. But is the sequel good, or is it just nostalgia bait? Let's find out. The film begins with Egon driving out of Shandor Mines, which will come back later along with Ivo Shandor. The film does a clever job of hiding the fact it's not Harold Ramis with lots of shadows, akin to Marlon Brando in Apocalypse Now. He drives through a cornfield and runs into the tall grass, making it to his house where he sets off a trap. However, it's to no avail as he goes inside and picks up a PKE meter and goes on his couch. Egon sits and waits, however a vape cloud from your average high school must have rolled up as a ghost straps him down and gives him the freakiest head he's ever gotten, sending him straight to heaven. Being serious, this is a pretty good opening. Kinda silly how he died, but hey, at least they gave a good explanation for why he's not here, and it causes the plot to happen. Although, was that his actual spirit flying there? Because if so, why is he later back in the house with Phoebe? Guess it was an automatic part of his trip to heaven and he just went back. It can't be the terror dog as it's still trapped in the ghost trap later on. We meet our main characters, the mom Callie, her son Trevor, and her daughter Phoebe, who's really good at science. However, her wacky shenanigans can't stop them from getting evicted. The three pack up and leave, with Trevor attempting to crush Phoebe. Whoa, keep the killer car stuff with John Carpenter. They drive into Somerville, where the house from the opening is at, as Callie is coming to receive a check from her inheritance and stay in the house for a week. They arrive at the house looking like something out of the Winchester movie. However, there's no Jason Clarke to greet them. He's still mourning over his recent Pet Sematary remake, which actually came out the same year this was filmed. They get to the house, and Callie assigns Phoebe the most quality of family bonding activities, breaking into your dead grandpa's house. They stash whatever Walmart-level loot they can find, including a mini statue of the Terror Dogs. An earthquake hits, however not for long as Janine Melnitz from the originals come in, telling them about the place and how it's basically worthless bar the sentimental value. So yeah, that week-long stay is about to be a real long stay. They go to eat at a burger place called Spinners that still has the workers bring the food out to you in roller skates. Trevor's just about done with the place until the power of crazy coitus overtakes him. The girl he's trying to get with is named Lucky. Ironic because she's in a shithole. Trevor rizzes her up, but she quizzes him down, asking a few questions and figuring out he's a basic bitch. Still, she puts in a good word and he'll later get a job.
What's up, Casanova?
Are you talking about the Italian author? Because, yeah, they look a little different. A chessboard in Phoebe's room falls, and after setting back up, she stares at it, because chessboards are really whack, yo. However, when she wakes up, it turns out a piece has been moved, the first sign that Egon is still in there, in spirit. Phoebe's first day of summer school starts as Mr. Gruberson enters the scene, played by the incapable of aging Paul Rudd.
Great, it's called Cujo. Imagine Beethoven if he contracted rabies and just started mauling children.
Well, he probably would if he saw how many sequels he birthed. Dude's competing with Nick Cannon with how many kids he can pop and drop. Yeah, Beethoven's treasure is just him finding out how much money will cover child support for a month. While Mr. Gruberson plays Cujo on the VHS, a kid named Podcast, wonderful name, talks to Phoebe. He asks why Phoebe's here and whether or not she's here to uncover the mysteries of her grandfather's death. However, she assures him it was natural causes, and by natural, she means as natural as the physics of natural disaster survival.
Doing some painting?
No, just trying to drink it. Phoebe walks into the front of the classroom where Mr. Gruberson is and talks about seismic activity. They figure out that the tectonic activity is that of a large P wave and a small S wave like an explosion, which is bizarre because no loud music plays in the town.
Huh? You should borrow my hoodie. I'm actually kind of surprised it fits me. Yeah, it's my boyfriend's actually. Oh.
Damn, I don't even know what zone you're in. I wouldn't relate because I exude W-Riz. Podcast and Phoebe talk, with her revealing she doesn't actually believe in ghosts. Bizarre. Podcast takes her to the Shandor mine, which shows miners jumping to their death. Back to the house, or I guess the dirt farm, since there's a farm part of the farmhouse. Who would have guessed? Trevor has found the original ectomobile.
What a shitbox.
You know, at least it works, unlike your Riz. How many layers of the friend zone are you in again? Oh right, uncharted territory. Back at Phoebe and Podcast, he tells her about his podcast, which is what he's been filming the past 10 minutes of the movie. And I gotta say, I do like his character. Usually, these comic relief characters come off as cringe or annoying, but he's the right amount of cringe in a believable and earnest way. It also helps that he's not constantly cracking jokes and acts like an actual human being and not a character. Later in the house, Phoebe sees another chess piece that's been moved and continues the game. She gets help from Egon and moves some pieces of the floor around to find the ghost trap from earlier. The next day, she brings it to class while Chucky brings his A-game to the VHS.
You stupid bitch, you filthy slut! Did you fuck with me?
Brutal. Mr. Gruberson sees the ghost trap and is amazed they have it. Okay, so the events of the first two did happen, since he said it's been 30 years since the last ghost sighting, and while this one was shot, Ghostbusters 2 was 30 years ago. So how exactly is the question of paranormal events and spirits a thing after the Stay Puft Marshmallow Man exploded over a city? It was all over the news. The three go outside near some buses to test out the ghost trap and open it. Really, dude, you want to open that? I mean, you know what could be inside of it. You're the only new character who seems to know the previous film's events. And of course, stuff goes wrong and their terror dog escapes. Mr. Gruberson brings it to home, well, podcast, just also there. Callie comes down in her Mr. Gruberson talk, or, I guess, obviously flirt. Hey, at least he actually has game, Trevor. Speaking of Trevor, he gets invited by Lucky, how ironic, to go to the mines along with some others. Lucky talks about how she's fourth-generation dump in Somerville and how Trevor is stuck because of the debt and the house left by Egon until the terror dog comes out of the mine. Yeah, that's hilarious. Some random stream of orange gas preceded by it speaking, which neither Trevor or Lucky brings up.
I mean, Somerville's not even 100 years old.
Wait, so if Somerville isn't even 100 years old, and Lucky is fourth-generation dump, is her family like one of the first people to live here? Damn, that sucks. Phoebe looks around the outside of the house and goes into the shed. She goes down the pole and into the basement, seeing a whole bunch of weird stuff. She looks around and finds something even crazier than Sheldon not acting like a complete ass, the original Ghostbusters outfit. She eventually finds some of the other old stuff and gets some extra help. I gotta say I do like Egon's involvement in this. While his character and actor are unfortunately dead, they managed to find a way to keep him alive in the form of moving lights and shelves, managing to even give him some of his personality back. Not a lot of it, but considering what they're doing, it's a lot more than some other films. It's a very respectful way to handle his death and rework in a way where at least one of the original cast members is in the film for most of it, while the others come back way later in the film. The two of them eventually restore the old equipment back together, and Phoebe watches the old Ghostbusters ad in her bedroom, writing the number to call them. The next day, her and Podcast test out the old proton pack, and I do like how it's taken almost 50 minutes for us to get properly reintroduced to them. I'm not being sarcastic. I like films that take their time, and it's not like there's been nothing related to Ghostbusters or a lack of a plot so far. It's the right amount to feel like a solid reintroduction, things we haven't seen since, well, 2016, but in this universe, the 80s. It's gotten us introduced to new characters, makes us like them, and slowly but surely brings back old elements. Although podcasts, you should definitely stand like 5 feet farther if you don't want to blow out the audience's eardrums whenever they hear the audio recording, or just so you don't get blown back into dirt. They find a muncher in a foundry, a factory that produces metal castings, as it straight up attempts to murder these kids. Nice. It flees as Trevor fixes the ectomobile and finds the two as they try to find Muncher. Podcast takes out a remote-controlled ghost trap and eventually catches him, but forgets about this pesky thing called collateral damage, and thus gets arrested. While in there, Trevor talks about the mine, finally mentioning the fact that the ghost said something, and hell, even Lucky's in jail and attests to this. However, she's not actually in jail but messing with Trevor because her dad's a cop. Phoebe gets her one phone call and uses it to contact Ray Stantz, who, while having a strained relationship with Egon, is very sad when learning of his death. He explains how when hauntings got thin, everyone went their separate ways, but Egon took all the Ghostbusters equipment and left, only calling once 10 years later to tell them about a rising storm and how humanity will be consumed by darkness. I get not fully believing him, as they didn't, but don't you think you'd ought to have looked into it? Maybe ask where he was and get the others to just see what was going on? He wasn't really the loud and crazy type in the movies. I get people can change, but he rarely spoke of dangerous things, and when he did, like shutting off the system in the original, shit went down. So, yeah, little weird how they just pushed his worries aside because he left one night. They get out via Callie and Mr. Gruberson, who are on a date. Callie gets mad at Phoebe because, property damage costs money, which is something they don't have. The Shandor mine gets activated, and the ghost dog spirit comes into Walmart where Mr. Gruberson is. He finds some Stay Puft Marshmallow Man just kind of doing their shtick, and kind of just destroying each other. Don't know why they're alive considering only one soul came in here and it's a terror dog, and some really good practical effects. Curious where everyone else is, but this is Walmart, so I guess it does make sense. When it starts running, it's CGI and looks a little less good, but for the most part it's a solid scene, and we even get more practical effects when the terror dog gets on the car. Later, Phoebe, Podcast, Lucky, and Trevor all talk about Ivo Shandor, who, has barely been mentioned so far. Kinda weird considering he was in the games and the first movie, but hey, at least the mine's named after him. They go into the mines and find Ivo Shandor in a coffin. Some souls start coming up with the proton packs from the original to keep them in place, explaining why Egon took them. Callie goes down the pole and sees all the detailed notes and pictures, showing that Egon did in fact care about her. However, a terror dog shows up and gets her as the group finds her, a little tweaked out. She gets a little freaked out by the PKE meter, as the last time Zool encountered one, it got wrecked. Mr. Gruberson, but possessed by one of the terror dogs, messes with the proton packs near the pit with Ivo Shandor's coffin, releasing all the souls and causing absolute mayhem in the streets of Somerville. But before that, we learn that the house, but really a farm, is a giant trap. Well, we already knew that from the beginning, but now the characters know. Wow, these monsters are really accepting of language barriers. I respect it. More accepting than a lot of people today. These two are just eternally horny and I admire it. The group goes back to the evidence locker and gets their stuff as Mr. Gruberson and Callie, but obviously possessed by the Keymaster and Gatekeeper, have formally, met. The group arrives to see them transform into the terror dogs as Ivo Shandor wakes up. Remember him? Yeah, he's alive. Yeah, he's dead. No, never mind. Phoebe goes up to Gozer and tries to tell jokes, but they're rather humorless.
Are you prepared to die?
No, I'm 12. Are you?
That was actually kind of cold. Holy shit, that was violent. Anyways, they all end up at the farm with the original trio coming back because after that call, Ray decided to get the others. This ending is a little bit nostalgia baity as it feels like they came back for the end scene, but at least it's done well, respectful to Harold Ramis, and the other characters are well developed. Gozer gets defeated and the day is saved, with Egon's ghost hugging Callie one last time before going to heaven, and Callie and Mr. Gruberson are back to normal. And that was Ghostbusters Afterlife. Oh, also, there's a post-credit scene with Venkman and Dana, who's now his wife. A nice continuation of the relationship in the first and second one, with the roles reversed, him doing the psychic game and horribly failing, karma for what he did to that student in the first. Oh, and one of the songs is performed by McKenna, who played Phoebe, so that's cool. She has a pretty good voice and the song slaps. And that was Ghostbusters Afterlife. Pretty good. I didn't love it the first time I saw it, just thought it was decent, and some of the flaws I had then are still here. Some sloppy writing and the ending that, again, while being respectful, might border on nostalgia bait. At least the sequel's making them bigger characters and continuing with the new ones. But honestly, it's pretty funny and well made. The ghosts are different, but still similar. I get not bringing back Slimer, and I honestly think that Slimer fits in the 80s rather than updating it. The old cheesiness of it made it so funny. But these new ones like Muncher or the Miner Skeleton in the restaurant are funny and creative. Gozer's brought back but still fun to watch and doesn't feel like they're just there, despite their limited screen time. And the characters are all well developed and have their own arcs. Overall, it's a pretty good continuation of a series that mixes both old and new elements for a fun time. You can follow me on Instagram or TikTok, or you can subscribe to see more of my content if you like this. Shows your support and it's completely free. I hope you enjoyed this video and I'll see you in the next one. Bye bye.